Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're playing What If with Jaeger-LeCoultre. There was no Jaeger-LeCoultre Deep Sea diving chronograph in 1959. That watch was a diving alarm and the first dive watch from the manufacturer of Le Sentier. However, in 2012, as the Deep Sea became an entire model line, Jaeger-LeCoultre issued this boutique exclusive, a tribute to the Deep Sea, yes, but also a thought experiment in what a vintage deep sea chronograph might have looked like. You can see and you can purchase this one on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this vintage inspired chronograph with accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this watch we are offering. That's the card in the upper right hand corner. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this boutique exclusive is sized differently than the other deep sea chronographs. Now, in 2011, Jaeger-LeCoultre essentially reissued the 1959 E857 deep sea diving alarm. Now, that limited series was 1 millimeter larger than the original, very true to history, even down to its plexiglass style crystal, which this model retains. The next year, as chronographs joined the model line and the Deep Sea became a family rather than a single model, this watch was released as a boutique exclusive, combining the aesthetic of the tribute to Deep Sea with the chronograph complication. Again, smaller than the 42 and ultimately 44 millimeter Deep Sea chronographs, this one is truer to history and more wearable. 40.5 millimeters across the round of the case, not including crown or pushers. It's 13.5 millimeters thick with a conical bezel and a sloped crystal. It's easy to wear it underneath a tight sleeve or dress cuff. And at 49.5 millimeters lug to lug, it's quite compact. I would say you could wear this watch with style, proportion, and security on a wrist down to as small as 14.5 centimeters in circumference. Now, compared to its historical inspiration, this watch enjoys a substantial upgrade of strap. Whereas the originals were known as tropic rubber straps, this watch features the embossed pattern and perforations of the tropic rubber strap, but it's executed in soft, supple, and upscale calfskin with a monotone stitch and folded edges. It's beautifully made, and it's paired with a vintage-style trapezoidal polished pin buckle for easy adjustments on the fly. The case is also strongly influenced by vintage conventions, as bevels, beloved of modern Jaeger-LeCoultre but rare in the 50s, are minimized here and provide a small hairline transition from the satin finish of the case band to the polish of the lug hoods. And yet you'll note, like Omega's Speedmaster 57, the very straight, conventional 1950s style lines of this case firmly planted and signify its historical inspiration in the 50s. Now, the bezel is also very true to history. Just as the original deep sea diving alarm depended on its alarm to signal the end of a dive and featured a fixed bezel, so too does this one. You'll also note on the dial matte black with ecru style simulated patina superluminova, very historically tinged. It has the matte black for superb contrast in spite of the ecru colored hands and indices, and unlike the vintage watch which would have featured radium, this one features superluminova, which simply recharges when the next sun rises. You'll also note the watch has, and I'm going to stop the chronograph so you can see better, the watch has no constant seconds hand. Fortunately, because of the vertical clutch architecture of the chronograph, you can leave the chronograph running full time with no hazard to the movement or additional wear and tear. Points for refinement, that's where modern technology is your friend. You'll also note there are chronograph hours and minutes registers flanking the hands at center. Now on the case back, you'll note 10 ATM water resistance. I'm going to polish my fingerprints off, but 10 ATM water resistance, notation of boutique special edition, the master control fully cased up complete chronometry, power reserve, and water resistance test of a watch. This movement has passed it, this entire watch has passed it, and you'll note the aqualung strapped vintage diver with his spear. This guy was on the original caseback of the very first E857s through to the end of the line in 1962, and he reprises that appearance on the caseback of this vintage inspired special edition. Inside, Jaeger-LeCoultre's manufacture automatic winding, caliber 751G, 37 joule, 65-hour power reserve chronograph caliber. Built entirely in-house, it's free sprung for toughness, so it's able to resist a lot of shock and vibration induced timing deviation. It does have twin mainspring barrels and the 65-hour power reserve when fully wound up. So If you do put this watch down for a day, it's not going to run down by default. It features hacking seconds, so you pull the crown, you do stop the balance, and you can synchronize, if you please, the chronograph seconds hand to a reference time to act as civil time, because let's face it, you can just ignore the chronograph, hours and minutes if you want to run it full time. And because of the column wheel, function selection is very crisp. So you get the flexibility of a vertical clutch with the traditional craft excellence of the column wheel. And of course, Jaeger-LeCoultre being a watchmaker that pushes the limits, this watch was an early adopter of ceramic rotor bearings, unlubricated and of high efficiency. They help the watch to energize via unidirectional winding quite swiftly when worn routinely on the wrist. You can see and you can purchase this vintage-inspired Deep Sea vintage chronograph on our website.